Welcome back to another episode of the Real Health Podcast. We did a new episode this past Monday called Manna Monday, and it's a 5-minute or less word for the week, phrase for the week, a thought for the week that has to do with building you mentally and spiritually. So make sure you go back and listen to that if you haven't. Today we're going to continue the episode on immune system health through March your allergies away. But we're going to shift gears from allergies and we're going to get into the world of eczema. Eczema is a big issue within our population. We're going to actually help you understand a little bit about eczema and what's driving that, and then some solutions for you to reverse even the worst cases of eczema. Cool stuff coming up. We have our first ever, Dr. Reed, what are we calling it? Are we calling it our mastermind class?
Immunity Masterclass.
Yeah. So we have our first ever, Dr. Reed's joining me in the studio today, as well as our amazing producer, Grant. So we actually have a master class coming up on the immune system. So this is something new. We're going to do this through a Zoom webinar. You'll see a link on our Instagram that you can go to and sign up for our Zoom webinar. This is completely free. We're going to do one per month. And the intent of this masterclass is to help you understand more robustly the system of the body. So this month is going to be the immune system. So we're going to talk about how the immune system, when it's overactive, causes autism, how it's linked to eczema, how it's linked to autoimmunity, and how to heal the immune system. So if you've struggled with mold or mycotoxins or vaccine injuries or whatever the case may be, if you want to heal the gut, heal the immune system, then this is an amazing masterclass. It'll be under an hour, and there'll be a Q&A session with it as well. So we'll do that all through Zoom. It'll be a Zoom webinar. When you sign up, we are going to give away for every month that we do it. We're doing we're just going to bless the community. This month, the giveaway is a free food allergy test. So free food allergy test. So if you sign up and you're part of the Zoom webinar, and we'll have some questions that we'll ask throughout the masterclass. We will pick one person and we will gift you a free food allergy test. So make sure you check us out on our social media, Instagram specifically, and you'll see a link to sign up for our Zoom webinar this month. Hey, Doc, do you remember what date that is?
Yeah, 25th.
March 25th. And we'll do that at what time? 6:30 p.m. All right. That's Eastern Standard Time here in the States. So you Aussies out there that listen, which is like 10% of our podcast listeners, if not more, that may be, I don't know, what is it? Early or late? Not sure. Let's dive into the immune system. That's beyond me. All right. Today we're talking about eczema. Eczema is also called atopic dermatitis. It presents in a lot of different ways, but pretty much it's going to present as like red, rashy, irritated skin, typically on like the flexor surfaces of the body, but we can see it just about anywhere. We see it a lot in kids. We see it a lot in adults too. It is closely tied to a immune system dysfunction. And what we talked about last episode is that there's a key breakdown that happens, and it's in what we call oral tolerance. Oral tolerance, which is the immune system's ability to recognize food and environmental allergens as harmless rather than harmful. And then the body, if it recognizes as harmful, will start attacking them as threats, and it creates this inflammatory process that contributes to eczema. So let's talk about the first cause of eczema. The first cause of eczema, number one, is it is an oral tolerance breakdown. which is going to be driven into food reactions. Oral tolerance breaks down and creates food sensitivities. There's a part of the gut called the GALT, or the gut-associated lymph tissue. And this plays a major role in training the immune system to tolerate foods. But as the gut barrier breaks down and is compromised, how does the gut barrier break down? Poor diet, stress, toxins, infections, excessive antibiotics, and we'll even talk about excessive hygiene. But the intestine, the barrier of it, that barrier breaks down and it becomes more permeable. And what it does is it leaks larger food proteins into the blood that the immune system then starts to mistake as like a foreign invader and attacks those particular food proteins, creating now a systemic inflammatory response. And then over time, this like chronic low-grade inflammatory response starts to activate the immune system that then triggers more inflammation, and it can cause, in essence, eczema flares, particularly that we see on the skin. If we see a child's skin that's red and inflamed, that same visual has to be looked at with every organ in the body, including the brain. If their skin is that way, their brain is under the same attack. If their skin looks like that, their liver is. If their skin's like that, their gut is. So we're not just talking about the skin, we're talking about a systemic immune inflammatory response. To heal eczema is never an outside-in perspective. The concepts by which we practice, Dr. Reed and I, the way we see the human body, is that healing can only come from inside out, never outside in. You're not going to heal eczema outside in. You're going to heal eczema inside out. Now, number two, with the oral tolerance breakdown, then we have a food-triggered immune response. This is really built around what's called the Th2 immune system. We're not going to get too heady into this today. Save that for the Zoom webinar. And we're talking a lot about Th2 dominance and autoimmunity, or Th2 dominance and autism, Th2 dominance and fill in the blank. But today, just to kind of help frame this out, what we're trying to do in healing eczema is lower the Th2 immune system response. Your body should have a balanced Th2 and Th1 immune system. But in most eczema cases, we have a very dominant Th2 immune system. There are other foods, certain foods, that are highly involved in food-related reactions that drive eczema. So if you were to give the short list, it's gluten, dairy, eggs, processed sugars, and hydrogenated oils. Those are going to be your big immune system inflammatory proteins or fat from hydrogenated oils that can lead to a susceptible immune system, okay? Now, the chronic exposure of these food proteins, so if we don't remove them, and a lot of times they're exposed to them at birth, but if we don't remove these food proteins, they will never really heal the body. Food is not the issue. Oral tolerance is the issue. But food can be the gateway to unlocking the body's ability to heal by reducing that inflammatory load. The third issue, so we have loss of oral tolerance. Number two, development of food reactions. Number three, now we have a gut-skin axis issue. So the gut and skin play a major role. Think of it this way. The skin is the external barrier. The gut is the internal barrier. When the gut internal barrier is broken, typically the external barrier is broken as well. They're very similar in terms of structural protection. The major issue with the digestive system, or the gut, and where it goes into a eczema flare and inflammatory response to the body has to do so much with the diversity of the bacteria of the gut and chronic infections that are undetected. So what does this look like? It really looks like the microbiome of, trillions of bacteria in the gut are just sitting there creating these anti-inflammatory molecules. And the one specifically is called butyrate or butyric acid. It's one of the most powerful immune modulating molecules that we'll spend more time about talking at our immune masterclass later this month. But the gut bacteria produces anti-inflammatory molecules that heals your body. When we don't have the necessary gut bacteria, why? Because of antibiotic usage, the gut microbiome starts to get depleted, and there's the potential for pathogens to actually increase, like viruses, parasites, other bacteria, fungus or yeast can grow in the digestive system and create a systemic inflammatory response to even the gut. A healthy microbiome also helps decrease that Th2 immune system response. So when we don't have a healthy gut bacteria, we get more Th2 dominance, which again is more of the inflammatory part to the immune system in regards to allergies and eczema. And then when gut bacteria are imbalanced, inflammation can increase systemically. That leads to a skin barrier breakdown and dysfunction. When we, number 4, look at systemic inflammation and the skin barrier, chronic inflammation from food sensitivities and poor oral tolerance, the two things we just talked about, can weaken the skin barrier. And the skin barrier is also important to care for. Although the issue is internal, we still want to protect our skin by using healthy moisturizers. One of my favorite things to use is coconut oil. Shea butter is great as well. But in a lot of these cases, with these kids that we're caring for, we are telling them to use super hydrating formulas like cocoa butter or coconut oil. And we even have this colloidal silver gel that we infuse into those salves, which is a colloidal silver antibacterial, and it's a high glutathione-based product. And those two can really help heal the skin barrier. So not only do we want to support internal, but we do want to support the external in most eczema cases. In a compromised skin barrier, what it does is actually allows allergens, irritants, bacteria to penetrate more easily through the skin. A lot of these cases, we'll start to see staph infections show up, or it does lead for the potential of other bacterial pathogens to enter the body even through the skin. When we look at this Th2 dominant immune system, and what are some factors involved, right? We kind of went through the breakdown of 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's what happens. This is what's driving the eczema. But why? How did the immune system ever get so overreactive? And so here's some of the big things, right? When I sit down with a patient and I ask them, hey, yes or no, was it a C-section birth or a vaginal birth? Typically, it's a C-section birth. Was it a vaginal birth, but were you on antibiotics? Was there any antibiotics used? And typically, we see it as being yes. What was the mother's immune system during pregnancy? There's incredible data that shows when the mother is Th2 dominant, the baby is actually Th2 dominant. And that's why we see, not usually with the first one, but usually with the second child or third child, there's a progressive Th2 immune system response with each child, leading to a greater predisposition for those children to develop the second, third, or fourth to eczema, allergies, food reactions, neurodevelopment disorders, fill in the blank. So, C-section, antibiotic usage, lack of breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is one of the best ways to give the child a immunoglobulin, secretory IgA, that helps develop their immune system or immune tolerance. We use not just antibiotics at birth, but then excessive antibiotics for ear infections and colds and flus and unnecessary interventions, a lot of times with the chronic antibiotic usage. So we typically check those boxes in that patient history. And then we don't allow our kids out anymore. So they're actually, it's what we call the hygiene hypothesis. What we find is that the children are playing in the dirt. They're not eating dirt. They're not in the kind of the pollen environment. They're in this like sterile home playing video games or on their iPads, and they're not actually being exposed to viruses and pathogens and dirt and bacteria to actually help build an immune system. And I will just tell you this too. Even at an early age, we were exposing our children to little allergens too, like a little bit of egg, a little bit of gluten, a little bit of dairy, because you also don't want to devoid these kids of these food proteins that are common reactive foods in our environment that then leads them to develop reactions to those foods later on. You actually want to microdose those at early ages to help create immune tolerance to those foods. So let's dive in now and let's talk through. So there's the story, there's the why, there's the cause, the what. Let's talk through the solution. How are we going to improve eczema or the child's immune system's response, loss of oral tolerance? Number one, we got to heal the gut. We got to repair the gut lining, heal the digestive system, gut healing foods, probiotics. We talked about butyrate as being huge at helping the digestive system heal. Number two, we have to remove the inflammatory foods. A lot of times in these eczema cases, we're doing food allergy tests. For this month, we are doing a $50 discount on all food allergy testing. Reach out to the office. It's an easy, just finger prick, quick test. Find out which foods you're reactive to. Remove those foods and calm down that inflammatory response. Number three, not only do we want to heal the gut, but we will really want to support specifically the microbiome of the gut, fiber, healthy fats, and use a ton of probiotics. Specifically, spore-based probiotics are fantastic. We want to, number four, enhance the skin barrier. So use that glutathione silver gel I talked about. Use shea butter. Use coconut oil to really help the skin barrier heal. Number five, we want to use supplements. Supplements are massive. Some of my favorite supplements. Ready for them? Colostrum. Powdered colostrum gives immunoglobulins to the body to help balance that Th2 dominant immune system. It also gives these like growth factors that enable the digestive system to heal. Colostrum is one of my favorites. Fat-soluble vitamins, ADEK, are a fantastic supplement to help regulate immune system health. Omega-3 fatty acids reduce inflammation. So fish oil is great. We want to look at even nutrients like zinc. Zinc is a great immune system support. Vitamin C is great immune system support. But a lot of times when looking through these, number five, we have to look at potential pathogens. Are there parasites? Is there harmful bacteria in the digestive system that we have to clear out? So in some of these cases, we're having to do a stool sample to really dive a little bit deeper. But in most cases, if you were to drive digestive health, reduce inflammatory foods, if you were to enhance the skin barrier, if you were to help regulate immune system supplementation and get your kids or get yourself adjusted with chiropractic care, you will for sure start moving the needle in the right direction. And if you do all that and all else fails, if you only get a certain percentage of improvement, you got to test those food reactions, test the stool to find infections, and then dive a little bit more into functional medicine as a route to heal where you might be kind of lacking. So eczema It seems complicated, but it's really simple. It's all about just building oral tolerance again, healing the gut, healing the skin barrier, and calming down that systemic inflammatory response. Just a reminder, don't forget to sign up for our Zoom webinar, our Immune System Masterclass, where we talk about the connection between the immune system and autoimmunity, the immune system and autism, the immune system and so many other chronic diseases in our culture, and how to heal the immune system. And we will do that at no cost whatsoever. You can sign up for free. Check out our social media, Instagram. If this has been beneficial for you, as always, we just want to add value to people's health journey. So we would love it. It would bless me if you shared this with your friends, with your family, as we continue this health care journey of taking health into our own hands and applying it. So thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Real Health Podcast. Our passion is to add value to your healthcare journey. Anything that we do, we want to do it within a community to help as many people as possible. Thanks for listening to episodes of the Real Health Podcast. If you could subscribe, and you can share, it would help our mission to reach as many people with real health that produces real results for real people.